was really one of my favorite parts. The first day when somebody else came to help me. And the idea that all these guys were together and were really going to help me get these big logs that I had my eyes on, up off the beach, onto this Land Rover, and it reminded me of when I was a little girl and my daddy had his Jeep and he could do things like that, crazy things. So there we were, out there on the beach, going to get these trees. And John was delighted because he got to run his chainsaw. And he likes to run his chainsaw on the beach because it makes a lot of noise and people all look annoyed. And it worked beautifully. It just sliced through those trees like butter. And the other guys that he'd rounded up, I think he may have gotten a Scally's crew that day, or maybe they were all volunteers.
Scally's crew, what's that?
Well, that's when you go into Scally's and
turn out, you swabs, turn out. There's work to be done.
10 able-bodied men.
You. Drop to the floor.
Well, it's like so long ago, because it started a long time ago. It's really interesting to do a piece that takes you through various changes in your life, and then to watch the history of that time, and to remember it as you look back at the nice things. That's another reason for doing big things.
How long did it take?
Well, from the beginning of the idea, after that I made the model and got a couple of local women to help knot up the model. And then presented it to the community center, and they suggested I go to Parks and Recreation Department in Marin, who has title to the little park downtown by the tennis courts. And they didn't want anything to do with it because they didn't even want the park. They already had. And
right.
So I couldn't build it there. And in the meantime, the New Order in Bolinas politics, the new water board was in. And we got permission from them to use the space outside the water building, or public utilities district building. And that took, a year, that part of the red tape. And then we had to wait for the guys who were going to help to have time to do it, because they had jobs to hold and all that stuff too. And then one day it happened. We went out there and the Land Rover took 2 trips up the beach. We got scared a couple of times with the Land Rover tipping and the waves coming up at the window, the open window. And the second trip up, we got the motor stalled, and Hogarth's trusty Swiss Army knife with the wire strippers came to the rescue at the last minute. The tide was laughing around our feet. But there was just enough adventure and enough danger to make it a really glorious day. And after that, it just seemed like it was really started. They got the first pieces set up, and we paced out the spot. I looked up, it was the middle of summer, I looked up and the sun was shining right here. I said, here is the place. It's been wonderful working with a lot of other people to accomplish something where none of you had a vested interest and no politics or anything like that, just the sharing of the building of the thing. And especially that experience with Nancy, my first apprentice. The first of the 2 knots we're going to work on is called cording, and it's corded on this bar up here backwards. We're going to cord frontwards over this white rope. called a double half hitch. This first time around, down the hole towards the work, that's called a half hitch. Go around twice, double half hitch with a bite. This here is bite, B-I-G-H-T. How it holds the rope in.
How are these done in relation to that date?
This is the back of this. If you turn this up, you'll see these all
Go one way.
So you pick up the next cord. I'll do one more. You watch and then you try.
Okay.
So you go over the knot bearing cord to the right, toward the work. Pull it up and go around again toward the right. You see that it gets caught in there. And pull it tight. Okay. Over the cord and down to the right. Now when a knot capsizes like that, pull this one straight. Secret is holding this straight as though it were a rod coming through that line of knots. And having this rope that's going around it go around. If it capsizes, it becomes another kind of knot.
The best part is the humanness, the real sharing. The idea of an apprenticeship means that you have to give a part of yourself to teach someone. And there's no vested interest there either. You just get to share the experience. You learn how it fits into someone's life instead of this vision of removed education. All of us have been so familiar with for so long.
We're all met together here to sit and to crack. We are glasses in our hands and our work up on our back. There's nae a trade among 'em that can mend or can mak. If it wasn't for the work of the weavers, if it wasn't for the weavers, what would you do? You wouldn't hae a cloth that's made of wool. You wouldn't hae a coat of the black or the blue. If it wasn't for the work of the weavers. There's soldiers and there's sailors and glaziers and all. There's doctors and there's ministers and them that live the law. And our friends in South America, though them we never saw, but we ken they were the work of the weavers. If it wasn't for the weavers, what will you do? You wouldn't hae a cloth that's made of wool. You wouldn't hae a coat of the black or the blue. If it wasn't for the work of the weavers. So weaving is a trade that never can fail, as long as we need clothes for to keep another hale. So let us all be merry or a bicker or good ale, and we'll drink to the health of the weavers. If it wasn't for the weavers, what will you do? You wouldn't hae a cloth that's made of wool. You wouldn't hae a coat of the black or the blue. If it wasn't for the work of the weavers.
The eucalyptus that we found on the beach was dried out, and all of the checking and warping had been done, and there was no problem with. That's the problem with eucalyptus, is that it twists, checks, and warps. And this was already dried and beautiful, the right color and the right shape, the right feel. It's nice and smooth to the touch and doesn't need to be sanded, and it doesn't flake off like redwood or something. And it's very strong. John says it has the tensile strength of steel. It really is sturdy. Has a nice spring to it too. The whole thing will spring just a little. We worked all winter long. It took so long to get it all together that we had to work during the rain and the freeze and all of the sun at that time of year doesn't clear the trees. So this wonderful sunny spot wasn't sunny.
Shuttle flies through the yarn like a carry dancer, pink and purple, velvet red for a lover's bed. Living north of San Francisco, with a man who built his house alone. Peaceful in the country, the lights of the Golden Gate will lead her home. She is a spinner, in her hands the wooden wheel turns the wool around, then around again. A gypsy from Bolinas sits and plays the mandolin. Faces smile in the firelight of a foggy night. Living north of San Francisco, sometimes it's nice to be alone. She says it's peaceful where she's living. The lights of the Golden Gate will lead her home. You can see the bridges of the city hanging in the air by steel and stone. She says it's peaceful where she's living. The lights of the Golden Gate will lead her home. She is a weaver, through her hand the bright thread travels, blue-green water, willows weeping, silver stars. She is my sister, the baby born when I was older. Her hands are light, her hair is bright as the summer sun. Living north of San Francisco, sometimes it's nice to be alone. She says it's peaceful in the country, the lights of the Golden Gate will lead her home. The lights of the Golden Gate will lead her
It's really worth going after a dream to realize
certain kinds of dreams or visions that you get in your head.
And we get to share that with the kids. You know, they know something of what's inside me now, the kids, and they react to me differently. Oh, and that nice lady who did that for them, one of the things they would ask is, are you getting money for this? How much do they pay you to do this? And I said, nobody paid me, I just did it because I want to. What you want to? And for everybody to play on, or one or another answer like that. And it's just for us? Wow, thank you. A lot of kids that age gave me thank yous.
I used to think it was only me, feeling alone, not feeling free to be alive, to be a friend. Now I know we all have stormy weather. The sun shines through when we're together. I'll be your friend right through to the end. Open the door and come on in. I'm so glad to see you, my friend. You're like a rainbow coming around the bend. And when I see you happy, well, it sets my heart free. I'd like to be as good a friend to you as you are to me. Open the door and come on in. I'm so glad to see you, my friend. You're all like rainbows coming around the bend. And when I see you happy, well, it sets my heart free. I'd like to be as good a friend to you as you are to